Hey there, football fans. Well, we've got a dynamic Week 8 ahead of us. We've even got a huge game on Thursday. We've got huge games on Friday, and we're going to see the district and the playoff chase really start to shape up this week. Starting Thursday, I think it's the main event of the entire week. We've got Fletcher going to Parker. Fletcher 6-0 against Parker 6-1. So two dynamic football teams. Fletcher, obviously, tremendous offense. Deshaun Baskerville, Lamar Suggs at receiver. The Senators, though, a little shaky last week. They were playing Forest and gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter. They were able to hold on 27-21, but you have to wonder, maybe if that's going to be something that we have to keep a watch on this coming week. But Fletcher, when they've been focused this year, they've looked very good. Interestingly enough, this will be the Senators' first road game of the season, and we're in Week 8, so that was a nice schedule. For Parker, great running backs. Sam Barrington and his little brother Kwame Barrington really having nice seasons for the Braves, so that's going to be a great matchup. Both of them are undefeated in that district, so the winner will virtually be assured a spot in the playoffs, and at worst, we'll have to go to a tiebreaker if everybody finishes at 2-1. But anyway, Fletcher-Parker, great game on Thursday. In that same district, the other two teams are playing Friday, and that's Bartram Trail at White. That is an elimination game. The loser will definitely be out of the playoffs. That's huge because for Bartram Trail, they've won that district 3 straight years. So to be not the first team knocked out, that'd be a pretty big fall from grace. For White, they're on a bit of a losing streak, 3-4, but again, they've got a great offense. They've played a tough schedule, so that'll be a great matchup. The winner of that game, still alive, would have another district game to try and get to 2-1, dig out of the hole. But like I said, the loser, we're going to see a pretty good team. Their playoff hopes get dashed on Friday night. A couple other big district matchups. First Coast and Lee, that is a District 4-4A matchup. First Coast coming off a great 55-27 win over Mandarin. Their offense looked very impressive. They've averaged 43 points a game the last 4 contests. For Lee, they're undefeated. They're one of the last undefeated teams in the area. The Generals have been very impressive. All their wins have been by more than 9 points except for 1 this year. So they've been a team that not only has won games, they've won them convincingly. So this is going to go a long way to deciding that district title. And then the final game I wanted to chat about, Fleming Island at Orange Park. That's a District 3-5A game. Fleming Island 7-0. Orange Park's only lost once. This is going to be a tremendous matchup. Orange Park's coming off an emotional 13-10 win over Columbia, where Danny Green beat his former team. Fleming Island coming off a 28-24, closer than expected win over Bishop Kenny, but Fleming Island has a tremendous offense. They've scored 28 points or more in every game but 1 this season, so a very tough assignment for Orange Park's defense. So we've got a ton of great games. There's even one, I'm not going to be able to get into it much, but Spruce Creek at Mandarin, that's in District 1-6A. Both those teams are 2-0, so a huge test for the Mustangs this week as well. But great week of action. Look forward to chatting with you guys about it next week as we preview Week 9.
School football in St. Johns County, we have reached Week 8, and really the only week that matters for 3 county teams. Bartram Trail, Nice, and Menendez all playing for their playoff lives tonight. District games for those 3 teams, and if they do not win, it's season over. Playing for pride after tonight if those 3 teams cannot pull out victories. We'll start first with Menendez, 5-2, hosting Palaca, 5-2 as well. And Menendez coming off a loss last week to Middleburg, 18-17. Middleburg was winless in that game, so got to question what Menendez team will show up tonight with really their season on the line in this game. It's win or else for Menendez tonight, and they've worked hard to get to this point. Really establish that program, turn it around, and they've circled this game as the game changer, as what's going to have to happen if they need to take that next step. Nice 3-3. They're coming off a loss last week to St. Augustine, 24-17. They were in that game thanks to St. Augustine turnovers all the way until the finish. Ended up being a good game. Nonetheless, that game does not matter now. Nice hosting Lake City, Columbia tonight, a big district game. You can bet it's even bigger now with former Nice coach Craig Howard on the opposing sideline. Both those teams, 3 wins for each team. Nice 3-3, Columbia 3-4. Columbia played a pretty tough schedule this season, so some of those losses may be a little deceptive. And it's win or go home for both of those teams right there. District loss in that district basically eliminates either team. So it's a must-win for Nice, especially with a loss to Ridgeview a couple weeks ago. It's fresh in the book, so Nice cannot afford to go 0-2 in that district. Bartram Trail, the king of just close, agonizing losses this season, another one last week, led pretty much the entire game against nationally ranked Madison County. ended up losing 20-10. Once again, as with the other two teams, last week's loss does not matter. Just chalk it up against the record and not much else. Bartram Trail has got to win tonight against Jacksonville Ed White to continue their playoff streak. Bartram has made the state playoffs every year it's been eligible. That streak's at 7 right now. Bartram, but 2-5 entering this game. A little bit different story than we've seen from Bartram Trail as in the teams past. Ed White 3-4, but it's played some pretty solid teams just like Bartram. So once again, the record may be a little bit deceptive there entering that game. 3 other games tonight involving county teams. St. Augustine, after last week's 24-17 win over Nice, will host Port Orange Atlantic in a district game that's going to probably be over at the end of the first quarter. Atlantic has scored 40 points all season, 0-6, not really much of a competition for anyone. St. Augustine 6-0, firmly established as one of the best teams in the state, heading towards another playoff berth. Ponte Vedra at home against Eaglesview. Ponte Vedra shut out last week, 27-0 in a loss to Hilliard. Eaglesview has won 3 straight after 0-4 start, so it should be pretty good matchup there. Creekside is off this week, and St. Joseph playing at 6 o'clock game against Bronson. St. Joe's lost 5 straight after starting 1-0. Bronson, a little bit of side note, Bronson's head coach Al Cooksey, former St. Joseph coach, and guided them to their best seasons in program history. So a little bit of nostalgia for St. Joseph. And that's it. High school football, St. Johns County Week 8.